Today, our Emily Longnecker spoke with a man who was in the Pentagon when the third plane crashed into the west side of the building. And he shared with us what he will never forget about that day.
This is Indiana's memorial to the almost 3,000 people that died that day on 9/11 in those terrorist attacks in New York, Washington, D.C., and Pennsylvania. 184 of those people died in the Pentagon, one of them a Hoosier Lieutenant General from the U.S. Army, Timothy Mound. Now, we spoke to another Hoosier who was at the Pentagon that day with a group, and he says it is a miracle they made it out alive.
It's a story that needs to be told.
And 76-year-old Jim Boer is telling it, recounting the moments after a plane crashed into the Pentagon on September 11th. Jim, who worked for IU at the time, was there with 30 other Hoosiers, most of them engineers, working on a certification program through IU. The morning of September 11th, the group was on the 5th floor of the Pentagon, in a newly renovated part of the building's outermost ring. The then Undersecretary of the Navy had just given a presentation.
That she had to cut her presentation short because of the terrorist attack on the World Trade Center. And just as she finished that presentation, that's when everything happened. We did not hear any explosion. The best way I can describe it is it sounded like air moving fast. It was like a vroom.
What Jim and the rest of the group didn't know was that American Airlines Flight 77 had just crashed into the west side of the Pentagon, just a few floors below and only 70 feet away.
And we had smoke coming in from the heating vents, from the ceiling. And of course, at that point, everyone said, well, we got to get out of here.
But when they tried to get down a stairwell, they found half of it was gone. So they had to turn around and try and find their way out in the dark, in a hall, filling up with more smoke every minute.
I mean, I can remember getting my handkerchief out of my pocket, putting it over my mouth and nose. At that point, I had a calmness that I've never felt in my entire life. I immediately thought of my wife. I thought of the girls.
Jim didn't think he was making it out alive to ever see them again.
Yeah, I thought that was it. I mean, it's black. I have no idea what's ahead of us. You're in this corridor, there's nothing you can do.
Then a sound, and the reason Jim and his group survived.
But what I heard was a voice that said, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Stay low, grab the person in front of you, and keep following my voice.
So that's what they did until they saw three men waving them in a direction that ultimately got them out of the building. 15 minutes later, the area where Jim and his group came through collapsed.
That's when we realized how close it was. I mean, we really shouldn't have gotten out.
They did, though. And 20 years later, Jim is still thankful.
I mean, so many people lost their lives, and I just feel blessed to have made it.